Perfect. Hey, everybody, and thanks for joining in today's webinar, QuickBooks plus Fishbowl Inventory, a smarter business choice. A couple of things before we get kicked off. Let me go over a couple of housekeeping items. First of all, today's webinar is going to be recorded. You'll actually receive an email with access to the details for the recording after the webinar. So look forward to that and feel free to revisit, share it out to everybody you know. Second of all, we love questions. We encourage you to use the Q&A box to submit your questions. We'll actually address those as the discussion goes through with the webinar. Closed captioning is provided. If you would like to have that, go ahead and click the live transcript, the CC button on your Zoom control panel, and then your closed captions will be auto-generated. And lastly, feedback is a gift. Post-webinar, you're going to get a survey. We highly encourage you to complete that evaluation as it appears, give us feedback, and actually help us improve our future event. So let's go and kick off with the housekeeping items covered. Today's webinar, if you do want to earn CPE credit for this webinar, make sure that you take the survey afterwards. I know we'll have polls and surveys during the webinar. That's not going to count towards CPE credit. So afterwards, just the three things: get the Earmark app. You're going to take a 5-question quiz, and then you will receive the CPE certificate. And again, that'll be post-webinar that you'll get that survey there. And then with that said, let's dive into introductions. Again, my name is Craig Baker, and I introduce myself. I am a Senior Partner Development Manager here at Intuit. I'll be your host today, and looking forward to introducing Kendrick Hare, Chief Evangelist at Fishbowl, Chris Wiles at Bottoms Up Beer, General Manager, and our amazing Matt Bright, Senior Product Specialist here at Intuit. And then with that said, let me kick it off to Kendrick Hare to take us away.
Thank you so much, Craig. Sure appreciate the opportunity to be here today, and thank you everyone who is in attendance. We know your time is valuable, so we'll get right into our agenda, and hope that you can find some great information in the webinar today. So we'll be talking about how QuickBooks and Fishbowl are the smarter business choice when compared to competitors. We'll spend a few minutes talking about what is Fishbowl, and why Fishbowl and QuickBooks are the smarter choice, how they work together. Then I've invited our good friend Chris Wiles from Bottoms Up to talk about their own experience with their journey to Fishbowl and QuickBooks. And lastly, we'll spend a moment talking about how you can get started and learn more. So without further ado, jumping into Fishbowl. As an organization, Fishbowl has been solving inventory and warehousing manufacturing problems for small businesses to mid-market organizations for over 20 years now. We've got a comprehensive solution that offers the flexibility that you or your clients need to succeed when it relates to inventory manufacturing. We all know that inventory is a complex topic, and I frequently talk with businesses and consultants that have heard of Fishbowl but really don't know everything that we do. So what are the problems we actually solve for? What are the outcomes that can really help businesses flourish when they're using Fishbowl? A few statistics here about the company. We've been in business for over 23 years in inventory and operations. We've got 217 employees, 5,500 companies across the globe, offices in Orem, Utah, and Brisbane, Australia, and Singapore. And we've been the #1 requested add-on for QuickBooks integrations that relates to inventory management for a number of years running now. So we've been doing this for a period of time. That doesn't necessarily mean that we have all the answers by itself, but really the value is when we're delivering to our customers. And because inventory is complex, it takes a comprehensive approach in order to meet all the needs that varied businesses may have. So let's talk a little bit about where Fishbowl fits, what it does. Part of this, we'd love to know today what solutions you use or recommend for inventory management. So we have a poll question that'll be popping up for just a moment. And while that goes, I'll spend a little bit of time talking about the fit for Fishbowl. So What you're seeing now is by no means comprehensive, but it does provide an overview of some of the capabilities that Fishbowl brings out of the box. I know I'm not showing lots of pieces that have been cobbled together over a suite of modules or have to be purchased individually. What you're seeing is actually a full suite. Fishbowl provides all the tools that you need for warehouse management, for distribution, for manufacturing, based on your business need to operate. So it starts with procuring raw goods, the inventory management lifecycle for those who are managing vendors, lead times, minimum order quantities, costs associated with those. All of those things matter for proper visibility into your raw goods management. That feeds over into that full cycle inventory management. Part of this as well includes the important topic of integrations. So as we think through both on the procurement side as well on the sales side, there's a lot that happen outside even the Fishbowl and QuickBooks ecosystem for e-commerce, for shipping, for CRM, for tax calculation, lots of other solutions. So whether you're selling on Amazon or Shopify, if you've got Adobe Cart or BigCommerce or ZenCart and anything in between, and these are all native integrations that Fishbowl provides. So we're not forcing you out to a third party to try to, again, cobble together solutions, but rather internally developed by our own team here to ensure that you have seamless integration between your different workflows. You couple this with the integration that we have with QuickBooks, which has been rated #1 for many years now, and there's a powerful and scalable solution that can handle very complex business workflows. Some specific callouts that kind of go along with this as far as capabilities include the ability to provide mobile scanning, quality control with a full QMS solution, time and labor capture are also notable items that are all part of this. And there's not, again, a need to add on different pieces, for other solutions out there. You may have to spend more for a WIP and routing tool or for barcode generation or for scanning or for modified workflows. From the purchasing workflow in through manufacturing, out on the sales side, and the inventory management, all the way along the line. I can go on and on about the full capabilities and the value that Fishbowl customers realize what's offered. But at this point, hopefully you have a grasp of where Fishbowl sits, the capabilities that we're really providing. And at the end of the day, inventory management and manufacturing, while they can be complex, at their core, it's really just about tracking and documenting and empowering end users to record what's actually happening in real time. And that makes all the differences. Those inputs and those outputs being able to be traced in what's physically happening with goods changes for goods-based businesses, whether they're wholesale distribution or manufacturing. Fishbowl has spent 2 decades plus focusing in on that and ensuring that what we focus in on also provides value out from a visibility standpoint. So with that, I want to move forward to another topic that's adjacent in nature, which is that all the data in the world only goes so far unless you have great visibility into it. The name Fishbowl actually originates from the ability to see your inventory and your information from every angle. And as important as the features and workflow customizations that Fishbowl and QuickBooks provide are, the importance of data visibility cannot be understated. Since 2018, Fishbowl has actually embraced the recently made hot topic of AI. And we know that gaining control and visibility of your data is what leads to better outcomes for businesses. So the key here is actionable insights. Collectively, we have more business data in systems available than ever before, but without the proper tool set, it can just become an overwhelming wall of information. There's so much data actually that knowing how to make good decisions based on that can be an impossible task in some instances. And it's almost impossible to get a drink of water when you're standing in front of a fire hydrant. Fishbowl's AI capabilities empower operators to see the information they need and the format and the detail that create an environment for good business decisions. And that ultimately allows operators to make those better business decisions and to create growth and opportunity. There's so many fun stories here when we talk about leveraging Fishbowl's AI that empower saving money and growing sales. Hearing from customers, as we'll hear from our friend Chris in just a moment. Well, there's certainly a fair bit of noise about AI right now. Fishbowl delivers actual mappable value and positive outcomes, which are really the things that matter most at the end of the day. This looks like reorder information for improved customer service. This looks like being able to know top customers and low performers. This looks like being able to see what needs to be purchased and so much more. Really, one area to really focus in on is if you're in a position where you have to use Excel or some other external tool to supplement your business decision-making process, there's a high probability that Fishbowl and QuickBooks can add a lot of value and improve your workflow and simplify your business processes. That instant access and having reliable data unlocks powerful insights and allows you to see what's happening from every angle of your business. So some great things there on the Fishbowl side, coupling that with the capabilities that QuickBooks provides as well. I want to spend some time or turn some time over to our friend Matt Bright to talk a little bit on the QuickBooks side too.
Yeah, thank you, Kendrick. I appreciate it. And when you think about addressing the complex business needs, and especially today with modern technology, there's so much you can do, and that's where we get really, really excited. There's kind of two different choices that customers have that you're no doubt familiar with. It's, buy a really large solution that you're only going to use 10, 15, 20, 25% of, and overpay for that other 75% you're not going to use. And those are traditionally the ERPs. Or, like I said, QuickBooks, Fishbowl, the right apps, the right accounting back end can really do a lot to sync up your front, your mid, and your back office. What we mean by that is, front office, all of your revenue generating opportunities when you get in front of a customer, when you send out an estimate, when you're working through and up to a sale. But then once that sale happens, well, now you have to go source the inventory. You got to, get everything ready to deliver the goods and services. And of course, as you're taking money, deposits, other things, you need to get all that calculated from an accounting perspective. You need to have all that clearly put together for your accountant. And that's where, as it says here, we're better together. What we can do is integrate Fishbowl, QuickBooks, and many other workflows and streams, data streams, so that, you have that time to value. You're not spending 3 to 6 months to get up to speed. You're not having to hire an engineer every time you want to change something in your system. But, if you are a growing business, as we mentioned, and you need to add on an FP&A software or, a CRM or other things, just like you can add Fishbowl onto QuickBooks, well, we have all those other solutions you can add on as well. So it's exciting to have a foundation that you can continue to build on. And what that ends up doing at the end of the day, as that second column says, is it really adds to the affordability. You pay for what you need as you need it versus paying for everything and only needing a small portion of it. And then lastly, the flexibility. Now you're solving for the right data streams, workflows, compliance, etc. You're getting all that organized for accounting. When you go to your accountant, instead of, that old term shoebox accounting, instead of saying, hey, I use these 6 different apps and I use QuickBooks, help me make sense of all of it, help me combine all these Excel spreadsheets or other manual workflows I have. Actually, a lot of our customers see a reduced price in accounting. Accountants appreciate it as well because, they're not getting as much manual information they have to sift through to get proper financials and close out the quarter end and year end. So, time to value, affordability, flexibility, super exciting, and really excited to have Fishbowl helping us, where our software doesn't necessarily step in for some of those inventory pieces and other things that they provide. So why QuickBooks? Again, we want to build that foundation. We want to have something that if you invest into today, you're not going to grow out of. It's, think of it as the foundation. What can you build upon it? Well, again, as your inventory gets more complex and you need Fishbowl, amazing. We have that as one of our long-term partners and really excited about the partnership. But that gives you flexibility. It gives you the ability to, like I said, not pay for a solution before you need it, but actually meet you, as point 2 says, When your business is ready to go to that next step, we can give you the proper set of tools so that, again, you can kind of build your own best-in-class tech stack. And then the other very important thing is it's not just about having a bunch of apps, okay? It's about getting all of your apps, all of your data connected so that when all that information flows into your backend, into QuickBooks or whatever financial software you're using, it's accurate. It doesn't need a lot of manual work. The accounting codes, the customers, the invoices, everything is talking to each other. It's not double entry. It's not really reduces the chance of errors. And then again, that leads to, it's very easy to use. It's very easy to set up. It's very quick to implement. So, why QuickBooks? A lot of accountants know it. A lot of customers know it. Why QuickBooks as well? Well, sometimes as a business starts to grow and get a little bit bigger, sometimes customers feel they're outpacing QuickBooks. And again, if you look at QuickBooks only for what it can provide in the box, so to speak, it doesn't cover everything. But when you do start adding on some of those 750 apps like Fishbowl and others, again, you have a scalable solution that can meet your needs today, not overpay, and then you can add on and it can meet your needs in the future as well.
Great call outs, Matt. Thank you so much for calling that attention. I love how you talk about the ease of use and the ease of setup. On that note, as we think through how do I get started with this and what can it look like? While they are easy to use, there's some great resources that Fishbowl and QuickBooks have put together to really help in furthering the capabilities there. One is that we provide industry-specific implementation experts. So we have an implementation team who are in-house part of Fishbowl. They understand QuickBooks and Fishbowl, the implementation journey. Change management is a real thing, and there's a lot of strife and concern when you're swapping out systems like this. So we want to make sure that we're ensuring minimal downtime and make sure that you're set up to succeed from the moment that you start that journey. Speaking of that journey, it doesn't end with the implementation. Go live is not the beginning of the road, but rather your entry through the gate. So long term, you'll have an account manager that will be there to answer any of your account questions or your clients' questions to address those needs and to make sure that you're getting the most out of QuickBooks and Fishbowl. And then support is always a big thing for those times that you do need technical support. We're here to assist with and resolve issues and provide answers to questions or training or whatever that may look like. It's US-based customer support here that it really can be facilitated through that account manager or pick up the phone and call. We had a really fun experience the other day. A prospective Fishbowl customer was on a demonstration trying to learn more, and about 2 or 3 questions into that product demo, they asked our sales engineer to hold the line. They took another call and came back, and they'd actually just called our support line. They called the 800 number to ask, and they wanted to verify, 1, how long did it take to get an answer? And 2, was the representative on the other end of the phone able to address the question that they may have had? Are they actually a support related person or just someone answering phones? And we're pleasantly surprised that within minutes of reaching out, they were able to get that help. And so we invite you, if you're interested in considering Fishbowl as a solution, pick a phone and give us a shot, and then maybe look at others that, if there even is a phone number, what does that experience look like? So we really want to make sure that customers are set up for success. So whether you're an accountant and you're considering this for a client, or you're prospective looking into Fishbowl to see if it's the right fit for you, happy to put us to the test and know that we want to make sure that your needs are met. So I could go on and on about the topic of making sure that customer support and implementation are there, but I want to pivot now for just a moment over to how does it all fit together? So there's some questions about where Fishbowl and where QuickBooks, and the most simplistic version of that is that whatever's a financial truth ultimately ends up in QuickBooks. So your AP, AR, general ledger management, all those finance elements are going to be in QuickBooks. any of the things dealing with inventory truth, which involves purchasing and cycle counting, scrapping, manufacturing, creating and fulfilling sales orders and transfer orders, service orders, whatever that may look like. All of those things originate in the Fishbowl side and then are shared over into QuickBooks. So a little more detail on what that looks like tactically. How does it all really work? And while we could spend a great deal of time talking through the finer points like costing methodology and work in process cost capture, landing costs, and lots of other intriguing topics, the collective value is that what happens in Fishbowl is going to ultimately flow over into QuickBooks. On the AP/AR side, the balance sheet management, financial clarity, that's all going to live in QuickBooks. So sales orders are created and fulfilled in Fishbowl, and then an invoice or sales receipts posted over to QuickBooks Online, depending on whether Fishbowl takes the payment or not. That could happen in either place. That's a workflow that you can define. On the purchasing side, purchase orders are raised in Fishbowl. When they're received and then reconciled, the bill is automatically entered into QuickBooks to be handled out on the AP side. Inventory changes, manufacturing adjustments, moving goods, all of those things that are happening can all occur in Fishbowl, and then the financial truth maps right over into QuickBooks. And so you have full clarity both in what's happening on the inventory as well as what's occurring from a financial standpoint. They fit together to provide a full picture of what's being handled. I would like now to introduce a good friend of ours and customer of Fishbowl, Chris Wiles from the Bottoms Up Beer team. So Chris, over to you for a moment.
Hello, everyone. It's nice to meet you. Like Kendrick said, my name is Chris Wiles. I'm the general manager for Bottoms Up Beer. Here today just to talk a little bit about us and myself, which my wife says I'm very good at, so I'll try to keep on task there. And then our journey with Fishbowl and QuickBooks here. So I've been working at Bottoms Up for about 4.5 years. Now I actually got the opportunity to show up right when we were kind of needing to switch, our tail end of our switching over here. So I want to start with who Bottoms Up is. You may not have ever heard us. We are kind of a smaller mid-sized company. We've got 10 employees currently, and we manufacture beer systems that fill your beer from the bottom up. You may have seen us. We're in different places like the new Taco Bell cantinas around the country. We're in a couple airports like Atlanta, Dallas, Fort Worth. We've got a couple other larger venues like the PNC Arena, Hard Rock Hotel and Casino, a couple different places. You may have seen us around. Basically, we make that little machine that's on this slide here, there, and then these cups and magnets and everything that go with them here. So this is one of our disposable cups. Make the magnet and everything like that. So we truly handle everything running the business wise through Fishbowl and QuickBooks, from the start of sales to the manufacturing, managing our inventory, to invoicing, collecting, and all that kind of stuff, as well as paying our vendors and everything like that. How we started, our CEO's name is Josh Springer. He's a funny dude. So back in 2008, he was out at a Mexican restaurant. And he was had a daydream about a pitcher of beer, kind of like this, just filling from the bottom. His dad said to him right after he said how cool it would be, he said, "Hey, if it could be done, someone would have already done it." So like all true geniuses, he said, "Screw you, Dad, I'm going to make it happen," and started building us. So we founded the company, like I said, in 2008. We moved to Indianapolis in 2011, and we've been here ever since. So how we kind of found Fishbowl and QuickBooks. As you can imagine, COVID killed us. All of our customers, bars, restaurants, entertainment videos, if you can't go buy a beer, the restaurants aren't buying new systems for beer. So COVID killed us. And to give you an idea how bad it was, right around before pre-COVID, we had about 26 people working here, and we had to drop down to 3. So we were really at a struggle point in our life here as a business. It was real rough. I'm not even going to lie. So we brought down all our people, and we still weren't where we needed to be with our financials, just because business was unfortunately that bad at that time. So we started looking into our overhead, right? That's the next, you look at employees, overhead, anything you can cut out. Hopefully you look at overhead before you cut employees. So we started looking at our overhead, and we had to ask the question, like, why are we paying $12K a month plus consulting fees for our ERP system? because 12,000 a month, there's a lot you can do with that money. It's 144K a year. We were actually using NetSuite at the time, which yeah, they do a great job, super integrated, have a lot of cool bells and whistles, but we didn't need all that. It was too much. They weren't really willing to work with us. We asked to see, hey, is there like a lower plan we can go to? Can we renegotiate our contract or anything like that? And they flat out told us no. They just refused, said, deal with it, here it is. And they also, as we had to fire some employees because they wouldn't come down, they poached some of them, which did not sit well with us. Not trying to talk bad about anyone there, but definitely a bad problem. So we went looking, obviously, for a more affordable, better for us situation. Like I said, I'd kind of just come aboard, and my background is in accounting, sales, customer service, stuff like that. So I was familiar with QuickBooks. I had worked on it before in a couple of hours, so a couple of jobs. So I went ahead and said, hey, what about QuickBooks? They're really good accounting software. I like several things about them. One of the biggest things was I was like, hey, Josh, you don't need to know any accounting jargon or lingo. You can switch it to what I call layman's terms, which means if you have someone in your company that doesn't really understand the accounting aspect of it, you can switch it into terms that make more sense for someone who doesn't have that accounting background, which was great. So after I brought up QuickBooks, Josh started Googling and he found Fishbowl, which, as was previously mentioned on a slide before, was one of the top things that comes up because it is the leader in Fishbowl QuickBooks integration there. That integration with QuickBooks was really helpful for us because I kind of made it dead set that we were on QuickBooks because I'm not gonna lie, it was what I knew. So we started digging in and started really going into it. Went ahead and make the switch. So it was really what everything Josh could have wanted. It was tailorable to us, able to be scaled down to a company our size, and definitely not $12,000 a month. So we started getting with Fishbowl and we started getting set up. So one really cool thing, Kendrick talked a lot about how easy it is to get up and running, and how they're there for you the step of the way. Our up and running, we got it up and running in about a month. And honestly, I was super impressed with that because it was COVID still. So all of the training was over the phone. We weren't able to do the in-person training anymore. But we were still able to, within a month, switch over and start saving 12K a month. So we were really able to get that done. Now, not saying we did it 100% correctly, because we also went without asking questions because we weren't used to someone who was going to be there and give us a straight answer. But as we kept going, running into problems, we started to really get to know our Fishbowl team here, and they were really helpful in getting through a lot of things done. And like I said, they never charged us anything else for any of that kind of help, any of that tech support, advice, anything like that. Like I said, our previous place definitely was charging us several $100 in consultation fees to, to tell us how to click a checkbox, which was pretty ridiculous. And the training was included in the quoted cost. So NetSuite, where we came from, and we did that was not included. It was the 12,000 a month plus whatever training we want to do. We had to buy the training as well, or else just figure it out on our end. And then one of the things I really, really love about Fishbowl and QuickBooks. So how we run now, we run Fishbowl is running our inventory management ERP system. We put our sales in an order in there, purchase orders, everything through that, and then are able to manage that through everything. At the end of each day, anything that's gone will get pushed over to our QuickBooks, where I can see it in form there in terms of an invoice, bill, receiving of inventory, anything like that. We then use bill.com to pay our AP just because it was another thing we were familiar with. So we also integrate with bill.com, which is a wonderful Fishbowl QuickBooks integration that really helps streamline and manage. So we then push it over to QuickBooks or to bill.com, pay our bills, to which bill.com will pay right back to QuickBooks in the exact way, key everything, match everything for you, and put it in. Yes, because of, honestly, I don't have anything bad to say about Fishbowl. I don't think they'd probably let me on here if you were. I promise you I was not paid by Fishbowl to talk to you guys today. I wanted to just hit on a couple things that really stood out to me about Fishbowl and some of the differences, because they've truly, really helped us. We are actually, so right before COVID was our biggest year ever in 2018. And then COVID started that year in 2020, we crushed. We are actually back to fulfilling more orders and doing more business now using Fishbowl QuickBooks to automate our lives with less people than we had before COVID. So like I said, we had about 26 people before COVID. We have 10 now. So we're down to less than half the people we had, and we're able to do more just because of the synergy between all of both Fishbowl, QuickBooks, mybill.com, my tax accounting, everything is all built in. It's super nice. I don't have to think about anything, which is super nice. The only other thing, and I mean, the biggest thing for that is honestly the technical support and the customer service that Fishbowl goes for me. I've never had a trouble picking up the phone and getting an answer. Kendrick here, who's running this, actually came out and did the case study and spent probably 3 days of his case study just answering my questions. And that's not really his job, but he was very helpful and it was super nice. So it's definitely one of those things where it's good to find a company that is really about the customer. So that really is why we're going to stick with Fishbowl. Other than the ability it's given to us, Fishbowl is great with customers. They really are. I wouldn't be here if they weren't. They really align with one of our biggest values, which is to be 1% better every day. If you can get 1% better every day, you can continue to move forward and do everything like that. And I've watched both QuickBooks and Fishbowl continuously add stuff without even asking. They just take, they take feedback from everywhere. They add stuff. And I was like, oh, this is a cool new feature. Oh, we got a dashboard now. The AI is stuff. So anyway, I feel like I've rambled a little bit, guys. I'm not a webinar person, but I hope I've given you a little bit about our story. And I will leave you with this one quote that is in the bottom there. Yes, I did say it. I swear I'm not an alcoholic, but I am getting closer and closer to being able to show up to my work hungover, do my job effectively, go home. And I've kind of the dream. If I can feel terrible and do my job, I'll do it all day.
Nailed it. Thank you, Chris. Sure appreciate you being here with us and sharing your experience. You bring up a great point that there certainly are times and there's things that other systems may be able to do that Fishbowl and QuickBooks together can't, and definitely be mindful of those. So, our ask isn't to try to put a square peg in a round hole, but rather focus in on what do you really need, and what is it that you're looking to achieve, and what are the outcomes that your business needs. We've got another poll question that'll pop up here real quick about how soon are you looking to upgrade your inventory management system, and drafting off of that. Just a call out to, at the end of the day, the wins and the outcomes that you need to enhance your inventory management, to save time, to save money, and whether that allows you to keep QuickBooks in place and to add in tools like Chris has just mentioned, whether it's Fishbowl, Bill.com, Avalara, some other things out there. Really, you want to be able to manage your business without sacrificing time, money, and sanity. At the end of the day, being able to meet those business objectives is really what it's all about. QuickBooks is an amazing tool that enables businesses to prosper. Those who have inventory and manufacturing needs, Fishbowl can become the perfect complement to that. Together, they really are the smarter business choice. So enhancing that inventory capability with a tool like Fishbowl, accelerating your financial processes and saving time. And to Chris's point and the experience they had to go out and learn a new system, if there's a reason to do that, by all means embrace it. But if it's really just because of a title or label, or to spend more money to bring more grief, that's where we need to think through what are the outcomes that need to be seen, and what are the value proposition ultimately driving toward that time to value. I'm here to say, and I think Chris would back it, and the entire Intuit team, that bigger isn't always better. We need to look at what are the problems that you want to solve for, and make sure that you're really adding that value in, and creating an environment where you or your clients can succeed and have the tools that make it easy for them to do their jobs effectively. At the end of the day, Fishbowl is an inventory management and manufacturing tool. But what does that really lead to? Well, that leads to having good visibility. And why is that important? If we follow that through and really get to the crux of what's Fishbowl providing, it's visibility, and it's the capacity for you to make better business decisions as an operator, which is perfectly aligned with what QuickBooks is doing. It's to allow you as a consultant, as an accountant, as a CPA, as a CEO, as inventory manager, whatever your role may be, wherever you may focus in on, being empowered to make those right decisions and having the tools to do that really allows you to have the best business outcomes and to succeed, whether that be more profitability or serving your customers better or having a good time, whether that be showing up hungover at work and still being effective to do your job, whatever that may look like, measuring success. And we found more often than not that Fishbowl and QuickBooks can be the smarter business choice. Now, I'm not saying that as a blanket statement. Our invitation to you today is to come and see. So the next steps would invite you to schedule a call, and from that we can get a personalized demo. If you're wondering, well, what now? How do I learn next? How do I qualify this? You've heard a little bit about the capabilities, the value, the outcomes that may be available, and we understand that every business has unique process and workflows. And while the desired outcomes may be shared, the path to arriving at those particular outcomes is not a one-size-fits-all model. So call and get a demonstration set up. In that personalized demo, you can learn how together Fishbowl and QuickBooks can deliver the smartest business solutions that allow you or your clients to succeed. It looks like we have a number of questions that are coming through. So we want to spend a few minutes talking through those as well.
Great job, everybody. Hey, so Kendrick and team, we've got tons of questions. We're getting close to almost 100 questions coming through the chat here. A big one that came up was during the part around AI and Fishbowl. Kendrick, do you have any more information you can share with the audience around, hey, is it a separate subscription? What type of tool do we use with AI for Fishbowl?
Yeah, it's a great question. So rewinding back in time to 2018, Fishbowl partnered with a group called Conversite, who provide intelligent AI solutions. That's actually being embedded, and I'm probably talking ahead of myself because in our next product release, you'll start to see some of those capabilities. So it's not a new thing for us to work, but we're adding a new level of integration and abilities that you'll see in next month's product release. That provide insights into purchasing, aging, forecasting, capacity planning. And one of the great things about the Fishbowl AI powered through Conversite is that you also have conversational capabilities. So you can jump in and ask Fishbowl AI, what are my top sales, or what are my lowest performing products, or what's the lead time on this item, in a conversational manner. You can get great insights into what that looks like. I think actually, I don't want to put Chris on the spot, but I think they've been using it and maybe seen some value there as well.
Yeah, I was actually gonna step in on that, Kendrick, for a second, if you didn't mind. Yeah, we actually got after Kendrick's visit, he hooked us up with Conversite because he did see some of the issues we were having digesting information on an easy level. So when we really got there, I've been playing around with it for about 3 weeks now. And honestly, it's pretty cool. I could tell it's definitely got some kinks to be working out because you guys are still kind of beta testing here, but it's to be able just to go to a dashboard and customize that dashboard to everything you want. My CEO, Josh, used to take about, I don't know, an hour and a half or so to go through every different thing he needed to look for. And so now he can just go to that dashboard and look at it, which is nice. And that conversational piece is nice as well, because I can just ask it, hey, how many of these did I sell last month, instead of having to search and pull together. So it's very nice.
Great call out, Chris.
And Chris, I think you're popular. People at home want to order the bottoms up beer system for their house. Is that possible?
It is possible. We do offer beer systems for your home. We are happy to help you up. Send up a kegerator for that. If you would like more information, or if you do just want to buy one, you can buy them online at bottomsupbeer.com. It'll show you everything. It's really cool. You can buy everything from there. Or you can email us at sales@bottomsupbeer.com. That'll go to one of our salespeople who would be happy to show you the ropes.
Thanks, Chris. Hey, and then on a more serious note around the business side of it, a lot of questions around the competitive landscape. I know, Chris, you're saying that you're coming from a competitive solution. Can you share a little bit more about your journey from from a competitive solution to QuickBooks and how that went? I think there's a lot of questions around that in the chat here.
Yeah, so I am gonna be honest, I was not around for a lot for the entirety of us using NetSuite. When I got there, it was really pretty simple to jump into, but they had already had it set up, and I just kept hearing how many troubles people were having with it. And one of the main ones that I did is when I didn't know something, or when I didn't, or I found something wrong from my background, I was like, hey, this is calculating wrong. I had really struggled to find how to fix it, to be honest with you. So that was kind of that was a big trouble there. But yeah, in the shift there, we really just pushed hard to find a more compatible with who we are as a company and with our size. And NetSuite honestly just didn't want to hear it. And so they I don't want to badmouth anybody here, but there's something about NetSuite and Oracle that everyone should know, to be honest, and that is that they write in their business plan to write off 20% of their contracts. They never came collecting after we just defaulted on their contract. They don't care. They don't care about you. They really don't. So that was another thing. So when we looked for our switchover, was just finding a company that cared about us, because we want to care about our clients, and it helps our vendors care about us. But in the switchover, yeah, I mean, there were some long days, a lot of manual data entry. I did a lot of Excel, CSV spreadsheets to mass export, which tidied everything up before I started showing people how to do that. It was a long time, but there's a lot of different ways to make the setup pretty easy in the switching. If anyone's got specific questions, I'd be happy to try to answer those as well.
Cool. Thanks, Chris. Kendrick, hey, so I think looking over the questions as well, a lot of questions around supportability. You know, where would you recommend existing users, new people coming into Fishbowl, around getting support for both the Fishbowl integration piece? There's the QuickBooks side of things as well too. I think there's some clarification.
Oh, I'll post
that could
Kendrick's
help.
cell phone number, and everyone can text him. He's wonderful. No, no. Anyway, I honestly, you can go. They have a wiki built in that's really helpful at first for the basic questions, and it's really actually understandable. I've seen several of those that are not. I actually also used to work for Chase Bank, and their internal documents for trying to figure out how to do things that they never taught you how to do was terrible. But beside the point, yeah, the wiki how, and it's literally, there's going to be a how-to button inside of the module. So if you're confused, you can just hit that how-to. It'll open up an article. You can find it. That's a great place to start. If you're still not sure, you can pick up the phone and just call. Once you call, it's a US based. I think they're on Mountain Time. I'm over on the east side, so I have to wait a couple hours for them to get in, but that's no big deal. Wait times aren't long. I get in there, I ask the question, and everyone's always been able to give me a solid answer. So just pick up a phone call, or go to that wiki house, get your best answers on those.
Great call. So one other thing I'll add there, Chris, is if you don't know, if you're a Fishbowl customer and you don't know your account manager on a first name basis, pick up the phone and start there, because in addition to that how-to capability right in the product or calling the support line, that probably means you're missing out on bigger conversations as well. The support team's happy to help you at a tactical level. How do I do this? Where do I find that? What do I change this? But there's a bigger conversation as companies grow and evolve, which we want to make sure you're taking advantage of as well, is that businesses change and adapt and evolve over time. You heard Chris talk about the journey that they've been through, and every business has those changes, whether it's, you know, a wholesale distribution company that's going to take on manufacturing, or a manufacturing company who wants to start working through co-packers and not manufacturing in-house, or whatever that may look like in your scenario. There's a new report that you need to have. We've got tools and people here that we can align you with to make sure that in your instance, you can have a business conversation about your exact scenario. So the written documentation is great to get you started and allow you to ask the right questions, but then we can personalize that as well with your account manager.
Great, thanks, Kendrick. Couple of things around the QuickBooks integration side. Number one, Kendrick, what versions of QuickBooks Online are supported? I know we do integrate with desktop, but what specific versions of QuickBooks Online are supported there? And then the second question to follow up on that, data that you input from QuickBooks, can you share a little bit about how that's integrated to Fishbowl?
Yeah, so a couple of things there. So there's shared information on both fronts, right? So we showed earlier and talked a little bit through on the sales side. So customer information, as well as vendor information, and then order data. Typically, it's a one-way street, but there definitely is information back and forth. So we could probably spend a whole hour talking about how that all flows. But as a brief example, you've got sales order data and then customer balances. So the sales order information is going to start on the Fishbowl side and then flow over into the QuickBooks end. But at any point, if you need to go see the account balance on a customer, as an example, that account balance, because AP and AR are managed by QuickBooks, and the account balance ultimately lives in QuickBooks, but there's an option to go jump into the customer module in Fishbowl and pull that account balance. So we're not storing AP and AR on the Fishbowl side, and we're exchanging that data back and forth to allow that real-time update and the truth that we talked about earlier for financial truth ultimately to live in the QuickBooks side. From a pricing and a plans standpoint, as far as QBO is concerned, Craig mentioned it. We work with desktop for those that are on legacy systems, whether that's they're holding out or maybe they need some time before they can move over. Pro, Premier, Enterprise historically, plus an advanced on the QBO side. So if they have any need there, we can definitely get them connected in and able to run whatever that may look like. And
Great.
if they're switching, I know we're, especially as we get toward the end of the year, folks that maybe have been on Enterprise and they want to move over to QBO, or you're the accountant and you're trying to convince the client to move over. We see frequently get Fishbowl set up, pull the information out of that legacy system, get them running, and then to change them from desktop over to Plus or Advanced QBO is literally a 20-minute process. We can walk you through the whole thing. And so it becomes kind of a crawl, walk, run scenario that you can transition clients over into using QBO when applicable.
Perfect. Thank you, Kendrick. E-commerce seems like it's a big topic here in the chat here. Can you share a little bit more about your e-commerce integrations that you have? What platforms do you support?
Yeah, that's a great call out, Craig. I probably should have spent a minute longer on that when we were talking about capabilities earlier, but Fishbowl provides all of our own e-commerce integration. So we're not leveraging a third-party tool. We've actually written directly to the APIs, and I can definitely get you a comprehensive list, but lots of integrations there as it relates to e-commerce, Amazon, eBay, Shopify, Walmart, BigCommerce, Zencart, 3D, and 30 others that are available out there. So lots of choices on that front. While I'm talking about integrations, I know it's a little adjacent to e-commerce, but it seems to come up. EDI is another topic. We've got great connections in with a variety of EDI providers, as well as when we think through e-commerce, well, then inherently shipping and fulfillment becomes an element. So connections into FedEx and UPS and the Postal Service and DHL, LTL carriers, and many more.
Perfect. Thank you. The type of companies that Fishbowls work with, can you show what, the question is Fishbowl able to handle a large company or grown companies? So where do you guys fit in the space of things?
Yeah, that's a great question as well. We really run the board as far as company size. We have companies that are startups, owner founder led, who are just looking for something, sometimes even still in the R&D phase. We tend to pick up a lot of folks that are in food and beverage or healthcare, that in the R&D phase, they know the importance of compliance, lot codes and expiry dates, serial numbers, whatever that may look like. And then we scale right on up some pretty large companies in terms of annual revenue that are still using Fishbowl and QuickBooks. So when I say large, we're talking about folks that are 750 million plus, folks that operate on numerous countries and do a lot of volume. It's not uncommon for us to see customers who have maybe 20,000 orders a day on a spike day. So lots of growth opportunity there. As I said earlier, a lot of it is just understanding what are the business needs really all about. And it turns out that Fishbowl and QuickBooks can go pretty far upstream, if I'm being candid, further upstream than we originally anticipated. And QuickBooks and Fishbowl both spent a lot of time improving that to make sure that scalability is there for those larger entities when needed.
Absolutely. Oh, great. And kind of a follow up to that, a little bit around verticals and industries. Can you share a little bit about the industries that Fishbowl are your top industries, verticals that you work with? One particular attendee here wants to know if you actually do also work with aerospace companies.
We do. In fact, one of I had a really fun conversation the other day with a customer who build autopilot systems for Cessna jets, and they have like 37 levels to their bill of materials. Everything has to be tracked with serial numbers. They need to know who touches every item that goes into it, how long things are with a third-party contractor. So definitely aerospace and some adjacent industries as well. We made a list about a decade ago of some of the industry verticals that Fishbowl supports. And when we got to about 85, we realized anybody with stuff and a need to track it is probably a good candidate to at least talk through. But there certainly are some key areas where Fishbowl performs very well. The automotive and aerospace industries are in that list. I mentioned already food and beverage. That's where Chris and the Bottoms Up team are coming from, that food and beverage space from a manufacturing perspective. Construction and trade is another that we see a lot of folks into. And then, as we expand beyond healthcare and pharma, that leads into lots of verticals and sub-verticals, as well as some complex industries with some niche offerings, like chemical manufacturing or defense, third-party logistics companies and asset management folks, some in the public sector as well as private.
Great, thank you. Cloud, see a couple questions here around QuickBooks Desktop being hosted and integrated to QuickBooks. Do you have any insights to share around what are some things to look out for? One question came in around our Intuit specific hosting with RightWorks. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, for sure. So I think RightWorks has a great offering for those who are just looking at QuickBooks. Unfortunately, due to the nature and complexity of the way that the data flow between Fishbowl and QuickBooks operates, there's not support from that on the RightWorks side. So Fishbowl has actually, for about 10 years now, offered a hosted option for those who need QuickBooks Desktop but want it to work alongside Fishbowl. So there is a transition away from RightWorks into Fishbowl hosting, or to another hosting provider of your choice. We can get the specs and details you need. If you have your own hosting option, there's certainly a roll your own. But for most of our customers utilizing desktop QuickBooks, we actually provide hosting alongside the Fishbowl offering. And Fishbowl does have the capability to deliver on-prem hosted or a true cloud offering that will really meet you where you're at, to make sure that based on your business and the features that you're looking for, we can provide the right tool.
I can speak to that just a little bit as well, because we have our server off computer cloud hosted here at Bottoms Up. And it's actually been wonderful to work for. I can remote in, I can reset it if need, clear backups, change things, update it, and it's honestly all fairly simple.
Great.
Thanks, Chris.
That's a great point, that you're not handcuffed. I know with some of the other hosting providers out there, you have to put in a ticket and wait a couple of days. Part of what Fishbowl offers is end user capability and quick support when that isn't enough.
I think to echo that point around quick support, I know we just had a question posed, more of a statement from customer Ryan. He just wanted to say thank you, Fishbowl, for the support they get. It's excellent and it's timely as far as getting their issues resolved. So that was a great thing to see, kind of live in action there with the real customer. QuickBooks integration. Do you recommend QuickBooks Online? Is it integration real time? Is it batch processing?
Yeah, so we're maybe I'll defer to Matt on the recommendation from QuickBooks. I'd imagine that most of our new accounts are coming on the QuickBooks Online side. Matt, I don't know if you want to speak to that front.
Yeah, and like I said, here's where just kind of listening to this whole discussion, the way we love to approach this is just sit down and talk about your needs, your requirements, your workflows. what are you solving for? Again, front, mid, and back office with QuickBooks. What are you looking for Fishbowl to pick up? If you, like Chris said, you have a bill.com, and you want to add that in, what are you doing outside of QuickBooks? And really, we take all that into consideration to kind of build you, again, your own best-in-class tech stack. So a lot of times, there is a lot more flexibility with QuickBooks Online in terms of the APIs, the speed of which you can pass data both ways. Again, there's 750 applications that you can add on to QuickBooks Online. For desktop, it's about a third of that. Because it's not an API, it's a different software language. It's typically a daily sync at the end of the day instead of real-time data. So I'm not going to say unequivocally, QuickBooks Online every single time, but let's have a conversation. Set up a conversation with the Fishbowl team. They're experts at this. They can kind of understand, and through the chat comments, a lot of you are already Fishbowl users looking to add QuickBooks Online. Some are looking to switch from a larger system to this solution. Let us just sit down and have that conversation with you and really understand what your needs are. And then we'll kind of understand what's the right accounting backend for those back office needs. And then what are other solutions, Fishbowl and even beyond, to get you that holistic package. So I hope that helps answers the question. They're definitely, to make it real simple, there's definitely a lot of value from QuickBooks Online in terms of the APIs and how much further you can go upstream to the conversation we were having earlier about scalability.
Matt, not to talk too much, but again, from just a quick customer's perspective, using the QBO version, that integration and those APIs, they work very fast, and it usually does batch over at the end of the night. However, if I need to push anything, I can manually export everything. So I usually do that when I'm doing my AP and stuff. I manually push, so I don't have to wait to do it to the next day. And it did in a straight feed in. And then again, we use bill.com, so I can immediately push it to QuickBooks, and then I can use QuickBooks to push it to bill.com. It's really simple. So.
Great call out there. That scheduling piece to allow the exchange back and forth can be near real time as well. So we don't go true real time, but if you want to push data from Fishbowl to QuickBooks every 5 minutes, that's certainly available. A lot of folks tend to do that end of day, or maybe once or sometimes twice a day. But really, just to Matt's point about, let's have a conversation about what works for your business application, and we can craft a solution that fits well, without a 7-month lead time and another $100,000 out your pocket.
Yes.
I think that's a winner right there. That's great. Well, I think we're getting close to wrapping up here. Kendrick, can you share the audience on the team kind of, if they're looking for demos, looking for support, kind of what's the best next step for them to take?
Yeah, for sure. So kind of a call out again, if you're a consultant who wants to learn more about Fishbowl for your client, reach out to us at partners@fishbowlinventory.com or fbinv.com listed on the screen here. Jump in and get a personalized demo from our website. You can go there and just book a demo. If you're an end user considering it, book a demo as well. So that's a similar path in those instances. If you've been using Fishbowl for some time and your hope here was just to learn more about how the two systems work together in a better way, hopefully this has been beneficial. But to really drive that home and to provide greater clarity, reach out to your account manager, get some time set up. To Chris's point, that's available in there. You've got the written documentation to help out as well. And we'd love to have a one-on-one conversation with you about how we can enable you to be more successful with the platforms.
Perfect, thanks. And I think I will close this out. Thank you everybody for joining in. I know we have a lot of questions that we unfortunately didn't get to, but we'll try to get those out to everybody, get those answered. A couple of big things earlier in the discussion, we talked about CPE credit. Make sure you wait for your Q&A survey to get the CPE credit. And again, thank you everybody for joining. Absolutely thrilled to have the Fishbowl team join us here at QuickBooks. Really, if you think about the two of those together, cutting edge world inventory management between the two and financial solutions. Great to have everybody on. Looking forward to talking to everybody soon, and hope you all have a great day. Take care, everybody.
Thanks all. Happy trails.